never do. That's what he keeps saying. Oh, you're right.
Taylor, did you pee?
I did.
Yeah, it's nice.
You just want to talk about him peeing?
No, he just wanted
I just wanted to make sure that he peed. Like, I was worried about him.
Wait, when did you go pee? We went to go get snacks.
I went.
Oh, you left. We were okay. I remember.
I don't remember. When did I go pee? Remind me.
We were sitting in here and you just left, and so we just sat here and talked.
Oh yeah.
And then we got up and went to the vending machines.
I remember that.
We were hungry,
Yeah,
so we.
I remember
we
that.
got okay. Are you sure? Do you remember peeing?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Me too.
Yeah, I remember me peeing. You remember me peeing?
I remember peeing on you.
Yeah, that was the best part. That was my favorite.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
I had a great
was,
time.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was good for both
We
of
should
us.
do it again.
Yeah.
I know.
Next Tuesday.
You just hit me in the face with the microphone.
Well, do you want to grab the mic from me or no?
Sure.
Okay.
I can do Wednesday.
Wednesday. Okay, sounds
Sounds
good.
good.
I'll book you. I'll pencil you in.
Cool.
I don't like having to share a mic.
Yeah, no one likes having to share a mic, but life, necessity begets.
Life is like a box of chocolates.
Yeah, you never get anything.
What you want?
No. What did you just say? Say the line again.
Life is like a box of chocolates. You never get what you want.
No, okay, but life is like a box of chocolates.
Don't start with that Mandela effect.
It's the Mandela. Okay, it's not life is like a box of chocolates. It's life was like a box of chocolates. That's the line.
That's not the line.
Nelson Mandela says
No,
otherwise.
I did.
Look it up.
I don't believe Nelson Mandela for a second.
Yeah.
Look it up. It's not life is like a box of chocolates. It's life was like a box of chocolates.
I'm looking it up.
You never get
Hey
what you want.
Siri, what's the line? Life is like a box of chocolates.
So aggressive.
Okay, I found this on the web for what's the line like there's like a box of chocolates.
There's like a box of chocolates.
Let's see. Here's the
Okay, what's the
video.
line?
Here's the video. That's not the video. That's an ad.
And the heights.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolate.
Wow, life was like a box of chocolates.
It's not is.
It's probably because the sentence is in past tense, so it makes sense because his mama always said life was like a box of chocolates. That makes sense.
So his mom probably told him life is like a box of chocolates.
Yes, but
in the moment.
But that's not
that's not what he says.
But it's not canonically because she never
Yeah.
says it. We don't know.
That's
It's
true.
all just hearsay.
Yeah, well, here I say it's that's what I say.
I'm sorry. I had that's if you don't know what a Mandela effect is, it's when like a majority of people remember something different than what it actually is. So like a couple of other famous ones is like from Star Wars, Luke, I am your father. Darth Vader never said that. I don't remember what the actual line was.
He said no, I am your father.
That's what he said.
That's what I remember.
And then also in the hit TV show I Love Lucy, the guy, the husband, never says, Lucy, I'm home. Not once in the show, but so many people reference that in all of their other shows and say like, I don't know, whatever the character's name is, I'm home. But never once did that happen in I Love Lucy.
Yeah, there's also
The Berenstain Bears.
how it's
The Bernstein Bears.
yeah. So it's all things are spelled a little bit differently. It came about because a lot of people heard that Nelson Mandela had died and thought that he had died. Like a whole bunch of people remembered him dying years prior.
In jail.
Like,
he did
No,
die in
I'm gonna be real with you. I thought he died in jail. I
he
swear
didn't die.
I saw him on the news that he died in jail.
But he didn't die in jail.
And that's where it comes from because a whole bunch of people remembered him dying in jail, and then a lot of other people realized that he died, like remember him dying later. And so it's just this big old snafu and this idea that parallel worlds will sometimes overlap, and that in that overlap is where people will remember things differently.
Like, I honestly remember vividly looking at the TV and seeing that he died in jail.
I'm glad someone remembers anything past like a year ago, because I ain't got nothing. Nothing's locked in this box.
I can't remember what I did last week. What are you talking about? A year ago?
I almost had a mini panic attack because when you said that, I was like, what did I do last week? And I couldn't remember. Now I do.
I built a desk.
I went to work.
I went to work,
Nice.
but I want to die.
Nice. I've never been on this side of the recording room. So, as we mentioned earlier, we have to... while we were recording? No, never done it.
No way. Yes, you sat on that side of the room.
No, I've always... This is not a Nelson Mandela effect.
No, I swear to God.
No, I've never sat on this side during a recording.
Oh my God.
I've always sat on that side because I've always sat with the part that's got the
Oh,
little
so you can't put
filing cabinet.
your feet under the desk.
Yeah, and I still can't because of the way we're set up. But
Do you just want to do it real quick just to like say that you did it?
This would be so nice. Like, cause you can scoot in and like use the table. I just have like just a wall there.
I'm sorry.
And I can't even hit the wall behind me because I've got there's a keyboard,
I'm sorry, I got the better side of it.
You did get the better side, but I got the better mic, so it evens out.
Sounds right.
Yeah. But the way we're set up right now is because our current recording system that we're using during the summer only has 2 inputs. And so I can't, have everyone get their own mic. And so they're splitting a mic down the middle.
I don't like it.
It's quite awkward to watch.
I'm having a great time.
Yeah. Well,
it's good that we like each other because if this was another guest,
if it was another guest, it'd be me.
Oh yeah.
If Taylor was here, I would still hug him.
That's true.
This.
That's true. I think I'd hug
I know
him more
you
than you
would.
would hug him.
No, but here's the thing, okay? Because you always call him your boyfriend. I don't know if you can say that because don't your parents listen to this?
Yeah, he's my boyfriend. I've told them he's my boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
Will is also my boyfriend.
I thought Will was your husband.
Will is my main dish.
I'm the appetizer.
Yeah, he gets
You're the
me ready.
side dish.
Nah. He comes before the
He's
main
first?
dish. He warms me up.
Oh my God. I don't like the vibe we've created.
This is Media for the Intellectually Impoverished. I'm Taylor.
I'm Randy.
And that's...
Alex.
I finally did it, guys. I got him on. This is my boyfriend, Alex.
Yeah. And this is the podcast that...
enriches your mediocre lives.
All right. So that's her boyfriend.
Yeah. Sorry, I should have waited to finish the intro, but I wanted to let everybody know because I talk about him quite often, and so I think it's good that people actually know who he is now.
Yeah, it's great, and I can't wait because like if you guys somehow for some reason break up, which is never gonna happen, knowing both of you, like it'd be so awkward to listen to this episode in the future.
This episode will be
so.
deleted.
No,
It'll just be deleted.
Never. I would never let you do that. I'll never give you the password to get into the distributor.
You're telling me you're gonna change the password?
Listen, I don't even remember what the password is now. I might as well.
So what you're saying is you're gonna have to put her through pain of listening to my wonderful voice?
Yeah, pretty much. But
awesome.
I'll kiss you.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to you.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you're gonna kiss yourself.
No, but to Taylor.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So what are we talking about today?
Do you want to keep sitting like this?
If you want.
My arm's falling asleep. So we have our arms so my arm is like wrapped around him, like in the cheesy way that people do it in like the movies, like when you yawn. Yeah, and you put your arm. So my arm's wrapped around him, and then his arm's wrapped around me.
But you're significantly shorter than
but
he
I'm
is.
a much smaller person, and my arm's falling asleep. Thank you, but we do need to be close because we're sharing a mic.
Can I cuss on this podcast?
You can say whatever you want.
Awesome.
Not whatever you want. Let's put a bar.
Oh wait, what? Yeah, what's the bar?
And what
I can figure what the bar is.
Yeah.
It's just if I accidentally slip some F-bombs.
Yeah, that's fine.
And stuff like
I
that.
think I say more.
No, you're fine. But what's the? Oh, have we never found the line? That's probably good that we've never found the line.
Let's keep not finding the line, and then eventually, when someone else finds the line, we'll be like, "Whoa, hey, you're the problem here, kid."
But I think the line is just average talking if you're around a group of people.
Yeah, if people, around a group of like people around acquaintances, I would say that's the line. Anything you wouldn't say around an acquaintance.
No, I think you've made some questionable jokes that you wouldn't say around an acquaintance.
I'm talking about like language, joke wise. It's however.
Oh, all jokes go.
All jokes. You know what I said? All jokes have their time and place, tastefully.
It's true.
Why are you looking at the door?
Because someone Is those sticky notes?
Yeah, do you see there's a sticky note on it? There's a sticky note. So that's not sticky notes, but that's a sticky note, and it says watch extended cut. Extended cut of what?
The Justice League. The Justice League.
Yeah, probably. Wait, no, because that's not the extended cut. That's the Snyder cut.
That's the Snyder cut. So watch extended, but it doesn't say the extended cut. It just says extended cut. Is there a movie called Extended Cut?
Maybe there's. So what we're talking about is there's we got new locks installed on the doors here that are like you can do with your phones because we want to be fancy and cool, and we have foam like sound insulation like along the little bricks along the wall. Not your typical ones that you'd see like on YouTubers. Ones that are much cheaper. And they have these little sticky tack things that we would stick on them on the walls with. Well, they took one of them down to place that new lock on, and behind one, someone must have knocked it down beforehand and put a sticky note on the sort of sticky tack part, and all it says is "Watch extended cut."
Whoever put it there, they know what
They know what it
is.
Yeah.
How long have these things been? They can't have been here long because they just changed these rooms right before we got here. So it has to have been like within the past 3-4 years.
But did they put the sticky note on, or after? Like they took, because they had to take off the little piece to put on the new lock.
Well, that looks dirty. Like the sticky note looks dirty, so I'm gonna assume it's gonna be
Somebody put that on before, and they're like, okay, we're gonna hide this, and then years from now, somebody's gonna see this and be like, what's the extended cut?
Yeah,
We're playing into their bit.
No,
Oh no,
they caught us in their bit trap.
Next thing you know, it's been there for years, and you saw it for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And this person graduated like 6 years ago, and he's like listening to this podcast. He's like, I got him.
I swear, if
Got 'em.
someone listens to this podcast that knows what it is, please tell us, because we want to watch it. And I want that to be the bit where, like, because we've talked about getting business cards, which I was supposed to do, but I
you were
never
supposed
did.
to print those so long ago.
Yeah, so long ago, but I never did. And let's be honest, were you surprised?
No.
But we wanted to print out a bunch of, like, just too many business cards, and then just start, like, putting them places
Everywhere
that we could think of.
I just want them like, so I told my boyfriend about this, I told Alex about this, I told you about this, and I told our professor about it, and all three of you, the first thing that you said on where to put them was in the bathroom.
Absolutely in the bathroom, especially for a dude's bathroom.
Yeah, because the thing is, they don't belong there, which is why when someone would see it, they're like, oh, this is out of place. Let me look at it.
Yeah, I think of it as like the classic urinal ad, where it's like, guys, when you go to pee at a urinal, like your head can no longer turn left or right. It is locked in place.
Only up or down.
Yeah, up or down, and that's it. And so like if we just like line, like maybe one on the ceiling, and then like someone like you're just looking up, it's like, what's that? And then and you see it, and then it falls down and lands perfectly in the urinal, and then you pick it up and look at it, and you're like, oh, dude, it's a podcast.
I should totally listen to it.
Yeah.
Wait, you pick it, but
No questioning.
There's no picking it up. There's no picking it up.
No,
you
leave
leave it there.
No, you pick it up.
Oh,
You pick
do
it up.
pick it up.
Because you got to read it. It's got two sides.
So you pick it up and you're like, just shrug it off. You pee,
Yeah,
get
I
the
mean,
pee
it's
off.
your pee. Who?
I think we found a line.
We have found the line.
All right. Let's get on to
Full
a topic.
circle. Okay, now we can get on to the topic.
What is our topic today?
Why do I always have to say what it is?
Because
Taylor,
I always
what's
ask
our
what
topic
it is.
today?
I'll be honest, I forgot. I don't remember.
Are you, so
I'm
neither
not
of us
kidding.
did research for this topic.
Neither did I, but it's Marvel.
Marvel. Yeah, Marvel. Like
Oh wait,
comics.
we can't start. We have to introduce. Okay, so
that's true. That's true.
This
That's
is
true.
my
We
boyfriend.
always
Sorry,
do
that's
this.
all we said. I
I
know
always-
we get so excited.
Yeah, we get so excited to start the episode that we forget your favorite bit that makes some people feel bad.
I didn't mean to make people feel
Only
bad.
one person has ever felt bad. It was St. John was the only person to ever feel awkward.
No, but not just that. So like we told like everybody else who's been on the podcast, we're like, oh, they're part of Top Gang. So Alex isn't part of Top Gang. He's the first like outside source, but he's knowledgeable in other aspects. Would you like to tell him?
My name's Alex. I am your local.
Hi, Alex.
I'm your local graphic designer, video editor, musician, journalist, lawyer, dungeon master,
Daddy master.
and as of
nice.
yesterday, 3D modeler.
A 3D modeler?
Yeah.
Yeah, did you use Blender for the first time?
Yeah, I did use Blender for the first time. Yeah, and then it's honestly really good.
Yeah, it works really well. A lot of indie companies will use Blender because it's a cheaper option and because you can export it to different file formats, which allows you to use it on almost any gaming engine.
I started making a donut yesterday on Blender. I messed it up really bad.
That's the best part. Yeah.
Yeah, I started putting the icing on it, and then the icing got all crooked. And then whenever I try to like do the next step after that, it just did not look good.
Yeah, I think starting with something circular or something round isn't really the way to go. I started with a classic RPG treasure chest kind of thing. And that's really easy, and it teaches you a lot of the basics about like insetting stuff and creating like holes and you know, locking things in place. Good stuff.
Yeah, no, I started watching some guy that has a full tutorial, and his was like, we're gonna make donut and a cup of coffee, but make it hyper realistic. And I was like, I can do that.
Yeah. It's like advanced tutorial on Blender. It's like, yeah, I can do that. I can do that shit. You kidding, man? I can do it in a day.
So I've started a new job, and we're learning like new software. It's not 3D software; it's special effects softwares, and I can't talk about it too much. But and so we're basically doing the same thing of watching tutorials, and it's incredible how badly you can mess something up, even when you're following like step-by-step instructions.
Yeah, that's the best part, especially like being an artist and then watching another artist be like, okay, cool. Some artists are very meticulous. They're like, we're going to measure this out. You're going to do it exactly like I do it with a ruler. And you can do that even with a ruler and come out like with a goblin.
Nope.
Yeah, it's bad.
Didn't you show me that something you made was smoking, or was that on purpose?
Oh yeah, I made a monkey head that was smoking and on fire.
On purpose?
Yes.
I don't. Are you sure? That wasn't super confident. Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought about it a little more. Yeah.
Well,
it was.
I thought, because you said that you're working on a donut, and then I remembered that you sent me a picture of it smoking or something smoking, and I thought, did that just happen? Like, did that, like, you didn't mean to, and it just kind of like poof in flames.
Yes, it spontaneously combusted.
Yeah, something
Okay, cool.
within a virtual world. I'm so bad
That's
at 3D modeling that I accidentally set something that exists solely inside of a virtual world on fire.
That's why I was so confused. I was like, how do you accidentally do that? Okay, but first, we got to get to the topic. Oh, did you want to say something?
No.
No, you gotta ask him the question.
I know I am. That's why I
Ask
was
him
like,
the questions.
Okay, what was your rank in high school?
Number 14.
He knew exactly. He'd been preparing.
Yeah, no one cares.
And nobody cares.
I care. I was Magnum cum laude.
Everyone at our school was Magnum cum laude.
We went to the same school.
That's
That
how
was
they
pretty
met.
cool.
That sounds what?
That's how they met, but it's not. But
Well,
we don't
that's-
care about that.
Okay, let's stop. Yeah, okay. Today we're talking about Marvel.
Wait,
And
what about the other one? What did you do in high school?
what did you do
Right?
in
It's
high
what's
school?
your rank in high school and what did you do in high school?
I don't.
Did we not ask that?
I think you started asking that, but that's not from the original.
Wow, you know what? Mandela effect.
But we can keep it. What did you do in high school?
I wasn't up to much. I was a completely different person. I was a horrible when it came to social settings and going to clubs. I did like the production club for like a semester, and then whenever they were actually gonna do something, like I think they were gonna be in the talent show, I was like, no, I can't play an
Bye.
instrument. I'm out of here.
Yeah,
So,
watching other people do things, not my jam.
So yeah, I just kind of did it to hang out with friends, but
yeah,
I wasn't up to much in high school.
Cool.
But I need to preface because
no one cares.
okay, I know nobody cares, but I'm gonna keep explaining it
I
anyways.
was saying that's his thing.
I know.
But also, I don't care about your thing.
I know, but I'm going to explain it anyways because I don't think you understand. When we say production club, it was a teacher and like 5 guys, including Alex, and they just kind of played music or like figured out how to play different music.
Yeah, we just kind of hung out. I had a friend that played guitar, and then from there we just kind of
Produced.
produced. What, you can do with that as you
We
may.
produced.
Simple. We produced.
Yeah.
What did we produce?
You know what? That's up to interpretation. Exactly. we produced. It's like the annual like check. Like, how's the production club going? Well, we're producing.
Cool.
Producing what?
Don't worry about it.
That's a good question. Yeah, we don't know, but we're producing it. And like, okay, I guess that fits your quota technically.
We made an ad for what is it? Texting while driving, and we did it to enter a competition to get Rihanna to come to our school.
Did she?
No.
Okay,
I never
that's,
heard about what happened after we made it.
You think Rihanna
That was the bit. Come on.
came to our little rinky dink?
She's got to go to one of them, right?
Not one that only has 200 students.
You don't know. Maybe they. What if they'd won?
She would never. Okay, no. Anytime that like famous people do that, like, oh, I'll come to your school and talk. It's never like the one with 100 kids. It's like the
What
one who
about-
has like 3,000 kids.
Isn't there like a town like that one guy from the Black Eyed Peas went to because it was like 300 residents and they had like adored what's his face from the Black Eyed Peas, and then he showed up there one day. Is his name J-Lo?
I have no clue.
Yeah, I
Black
have
Eyed
no
Peas?
clue.
Okay, cool.
Last time
great.
I heard
don't-
about one of those competitions, it was a Taylor Swift one,
Mhm.
and a bunch of like guys from 4chan sent her to a school for deaf people, and that's the school that won. So I think they canceled that competition.
Oh no.
That is hilariously terrible. 4chan is a terrible place, but they do some really funny stuff every once in a while. Anyway, so we're talking about Marvel.
Yeah, and apparently neither of us did research.
Yeah,
so this is
so
going to be a
the-
really open-ended topic.
Yeah, so this is gonna be great. It's gonna
Yeah,
be great. I
we're
don't
gonna
know
be fine.
what angle I'm gonna take it from yet, but I'll take it from one of them. I'll
Yeah.
produce.
You'll
I'm
produce.
gonna produce something.
Nice. So we'll start with what Marvel is in general. I'll try to do my best of a history. Do you want to do the history?
I
or?
could do the history.
Okay, because I think you might know a little bit more than me.
Yeah, so Marvel started out as a comic book production company, right? I think.
That sounds right.
Siri,
No.
how did Marvel start?
I thought you knew what you were talking about.
I didn't catch that.
How did
Could you try
Marvel?
again?
How did Marvel start?
Here's an answer from wikipedia.org. Marvel was started in 1939 by
Okay, your teacher says to not trust Wikipedia, so
Your teacher is wrong because I'm producing right now. So like, come on. So yeah, it started in the 1939s.
somewhere in the 39s, several 39s.
Yeah, one of the 39s as a comic production company, and then as time went on, it produced more comics and until the golden age of comics in about the 60s, which is when comics became really big and popular and kids were buying them because of the new printing technique that allowed them to print things in color. And
Wait. You couldn't always print things in color?
no, it started out in black and white, and not in the way that comics were able to print things in color either. So the way that comics were mass produced is they use a very special technique that you can see if you look at older comics, where they have ink dots, right? And they have a bunch of different ink dots and different colors of ink dots, and they'll press down all of one color depending on what the print needs.
Oh, I do remember.
And then
yeah.
they'll press down another one so that the colors kind of overlap a little bit, but they also have the single colors. And using those different ink dots, they can create the idea of a color on those
Yeah.
pages,
Yeah.
which will allow you to see them in color and allow them to mass produce it. So you could, yes, print in color.
It was just a lot of like extra work to do it that
but
way.
Now it could be mass produced and you
yeah,
can
okay.
send out a bunch. And so Marvel took to the rise as the kid-friendly comics that everyone was reading. And then, then came Marvel versus DC versus Dark Horse, which are three different production companies of comics, and they all had their own unique stories. Dark Horse took, if we're looking on a scale, so Marvel is the most kid-friendly, at least to start with, versus DC took a more adult-ish route once it sort of got into its stride. Dark Horse is the very mature. It's for probably 18 to 22-year-olds, I would say.
Adults.
Yeah, adults. So Marvel sort of solidified itself as this is the kid-friendly stuff. We're going to sell action figures alongside all of their comics, which is where they made most of their revenue. And so when they would decide what comics to produce, they produced them based on how well the toys would sell, right? And then that even circled back around to when Marvel began producing movies. They chose which movie to produce first based on a focus group of kids picking out which toys that they would like the most. So a focus group, not kidding, this is what happened. So a focus group is when you sit down a bunch of people that your target audience, and then you have them pick out which thing they like the most.
You have them answer questions based on like if they like this or they like this more, and
Yeah,
things
and
like that.
it's a way for businesses to gauge interest on certain topics before they go all in on them.
Yeah.
And so they brought out a bunch of different toys of like Thor and the Hulk and Spider-Man and stuff, and a lot of them picked Iron Man because he looked the coolest. And so they produced the Iron Man movie to sell the toys alongside it. And then once they got the money for that, they were able to produce the Captain America and then Incredible Hulk and so on and so forth. And you can see that because it lines up with the toys in the comics that were the most popular. And at the time, Marvel had sold their rights to Spider-Man for making movies to Sony because Sam Raimi, right? Sam Raimi? Yeah. Sam Raimi wanted to make the Spider-Man movies. And so at the time, they didn't have the licensing to create a Spider-Man movie. But I assure you, if they had, they would have put a Spider-Man movie out sooner than that. And Spider-Man would have been the MCU.
Sure.
So
No, but I was surprised because so Marvel hasn't always, I mean, nowadays, like I'm sure like the kids and everything who are out there now associate Marvel with Disney, but it wasn't always like Marvel's been around for a lot longer. Not longer, but alongside Disney. They haven't been like one thing. And it's interesting that the whole reason that Marvel like started making movies, or the reason that they made the very first one, was based on like a toy, which is basically all that Disney does.
Yeah.
Is they just do merchandise, and like that's where they get like a huge chunk of their money. So I thought it was interesting.
It's because at the time comics were falling out because television had started, and so you had things like cartoons were taking the stride, like He-Man and all of the other cartoons.
Yeah, more cartoons.
And so those, and what was working is those would have action figures selling alongside them. Not to say Marvel dabbled in the cartoon industry for, I believe, the 60s and the 70s. You have the really, really old Marvel cartoons, which I watched as a kid, like on Saturdays and stuff. I loved that. Did you ever watch any of those, Alex?
No, none of the old ones.
No?
I've only the only thing I can remember is watching The Amazing Spider-Man, but it was like the newer one.
What do you mean newer one? Like the show? Or are you talking about movies?
No, the show. There was like a 2008 one where Drake Bell.
Yeah.
voiced-
That was Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I've never heard of any of these things.
Really?
No.
So they dabbled in that idea, but they really wanted to sell these, like make a lot of money. And so what makes a lot of money? Movies and merchandise that goes alongside those movies. And so that's what they did is they picked Iron Man because of the focus group. They made the first Iron Man movie. And they picked an actor who was like down in the dumps, who would be really cheap and easy to pick up because he had just gone through like a rehabilitation for like drug and alcohol
Yeah,
addiction.
not a lot of people have heard about that. They think that Robert Downey Jr. is this like huge, famous AAA actor, and he's always been a huge AAA actor. But before Iron Man, he was like rock bottom.
Yeah, it was rough. Iron Man is what took him out of that and what allowed him to reach the level that he's at now and basically becoming Iron Man in real life. Like he really is the closest thing that we've got to a Tony Stark in real life.
Yeah, Stan Lee said that himself.
Yeah.
He was like, there couldn't have been a better actor.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
I think that's so cool. I mean, I was thinking more of the idea that because he was so down on his luck and like that he was able to play such a high status character. Because he goes in like Tony Stark's not like down on his luck at the beginning of the Iron Man movie.
No, not really. So it's interesting because the mindset of Iron Man definitely fits what I believe Robert Downey Jr. could have been going through at that time. It's because what happens in Iron Man is he gets like abducted by terrorists and locked in a cave and forced to make a weapon. Well, then he ends up making that first Iron Man suit and then leaving, and then his ideas go out.
I know, but even at that point, like he was still like this narcissistic, like it's just I'm saying the dichotomy of it. Like he obviously, if he was maybe, I don't know, but if he was that down on his luck, or if he's like all of that, like to then play as such a high status character who's like narcissistic and has millions of dollars and has all of these things, like it's just interesting.
Yeah, I mean he put everything into it, and you can see that, and then it birthed the MCU. So if it wasn't for all of the things that had happened, like and them needing money that bad, I don't think we'd have the MCU, and we wouldn't have such poignant films.
Yeah, we'd have all these random one-offs that we were having before that.
So here's I like the fact that we're talking about Marvel because I was actually talking about it yesterday with a couple of my coworkers, and they asked, did Disney buy Marvel before or after the first Iron Man came out? Do you
After.
guys have the answer?
Much after.
Okay.
It was after the MCU was started.
Yeah.
So it was 2010.
I feel like it was somewhere around Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
Around there.
Let me check.
So they bought in, I looked it up and you can double check me if you want. They bought it in 2010, August of 2010.
Boom! I was right on.
Yeah.
I didn't even look anything up.
And
I'm a
Iron
genius.
Man came out in 2008. So it's only 2 years.
Yeah, so that would have been Iron Man as well as the Hulk. And
Yep,
then they would
those were the only two that were out.
That's actually quite ambitious because I feel like the Hulk didn't do nearly as well as the first Iron Man.
No, not commercially, I don't think. And that's just because it's difficult to make a movie about the Hulk, especially early Hulk kind of stuff. Because what is the Hulk but a bumbling, rage-filled monster that everyone's trying to keep in check?
True. I feel like Marvel did a really good thing character development wise, but it took a really long time to get him there. Like, even he doesn't have his own movie and the character development's insane, but it just took so long to do it because of how hard it is to develop him as a character.
Yeah, and I think what had happened is after The Incredible Hulk came out and they saw how difficult it was to make a Hulk movie like at that stage, when they hired Mark Ruffalo on after Edward Norton, they told him, like, in his contract, it said, we're not going to give you a movie, but we will give you a character, like, dynamic story throughout this series of movies. And so that's what happened to him. I'm not a huge fan of where they ended up, but it is true to comics.
Well, tell us where they ended up.
They ended up at this idea of Professor Hulk. So that's a character in the comics where Hulk and Bruce Banner sort of merge into one, which is exactly what happens in Infinity War. They merge into one being, Professor Hulk, who is he's a brute, but he's also smart. And Mark Ruffalo's interpretation of that, I think, is an extremely funny and well done interpretation that fits the vibe of what Hulk had become, especially after Thor Ragnarok. That witty sort of who directed that? We talked about it.
Taika Waititi.
Yeah, Waititi. After his interpretation of like Thor and the Hulk and their dynamic, and then bringing sort of that fun energy to the Hulk in the future, I think is great. Not necessarily exactly comic related, but it's a take that I'm not against, I would say. Personally, I would have liked to see more of comic book Hulk style stuff where, you know, Bruce Banner switches between the Hulk and the Hulk does the big stuff. But eventually, the Hulk in the comics becomes much more intelligent, and Bruce Banner has a lot more of control over the Hulk. And there's some crazy feats that the Hulk does in some of the stories. Like, my favorite one is there's a point in time when the entirety of the Avengers has to like flee underneath this mountain, and the mountain was blown up by like Doctor Doom or something, and the Hulk literally carries an entire like mountain. He carries it by himself so that the entire mountain has exploded.
Cool.
And he's just holding a mountain. And like Atlas at the world.
That's really interesting.
It is so cool. Like stuff like that, I've always really enjoyed, just that powerful Hulk character. But I see the point of needing to reel that back in for the purpose of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, I feel like that's super unrealistic because the Marvel, of course, it's sci-fi and stuff, but it has a sense of realism, and I don't think Hulk carrying a mountain, people would look at that and be like, oh yeah, that can totally happen if we had the Hulk in our world.
Yeah, and I think that's a great part of the MCU is that realism, but also a downfall because you lose a lot of that spectacleism of the comics and what the comics holds, you know? Another thing that sort of is akin to that is a lot of people complain about the color palettes of the Marvel Cinematic Universe because they talk about how if you look at them, a lot of them are just very gritty, like not very colored, super realism action grimy kind of stuff. And that versus what the comics is too much of a dichotomy for some people, and some people are upset by that, which I understand because where they came from was comics, and the comics were popularized because they were colorful and because they popped. But the loss of that in the movies is something that I think as a cinephile, I'm missing out on, I would say.
Oh, I was gonna say it's an interesting. So before we keep going, it's funny because too many thoughts. Me and Alex have to keep switching the mic, and so I'll grab it from him because I want to say something, but then you keep talking and you switch topics, and then he pulls it back to talking. Anyways, okay, I don't know that much about Marvel. I mean, I know that I've read some of the comics and I've watched a couple of the movies, but I've only watched the movies because you forced me to watch the movies.
Yes, we are so far at Thor: The Dark World.
Wow,
and we just can't do it.
Nowhere. Yeah, but Thor: The Dark World isn't that great.
Yeah, so that's why we can't. Like, because he keeps talking about how it's terrible, and so they're like, you want to watch something else?
It's not bad.
It's just not the best Marvel movie.
You could skip it if it wasn't for Loki's redemption.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, there's not a lot going on there. There's a lot of references, though, to what's his girlfriend's name? Thor's girlfriend's name? Jane.
Jane, yeah.
There's a lot of references in the future movies about how she left him, and he's like, oh no, it's a mutual thing. It's a mutual thing. And he keeps insisting it was mutual, but she dumped him.
Yeah, she dumps him in that movie.
Oh, you actually see her dump him?
I'm pretty sure, right?
I'm sure you do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And then it's yeah, and she hasn't come back from that to reprise that role since.
Well, in Thor: Love and Thunder, she's already been cast.
Really?
Yeah.
That's great. Good. So
I don't know what that means.
that's the next Thor movie that they've announced.
So they're bringing out. Is that going to be like the third or the fourth one? Third?
Fourth one, because the third
no
one.
way.
Yeah, because there's Thor: The Dark World, Thor, Taika Waititi's Thor, and then Thor: Love and Thunder.
Okay, so Thor gets 4 movies and Iron Man got 3.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he might get a fourth.
Yeah,
a
you
prequel.
Know.
I don't want to spoil it, but where we are in the MCU at the end,
If you don't know what happens.
I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen, but how is there going to be a 4th Iron Man?
I have a feeling it's going to be spoilers, so spoiler warning for people that haven't watched Infinity War or Endgame.
Yeah, so Iron Man dies.
Okay, so how are they going to make a 4th one? Oh, you said prequel. I'm dumb.
Yeah,
Why did
prequel.
that just get through my head?
But I don't think they're going to do that. I think Iron Man's gone.
I think he's done.
They might move on to like the next
because they're starting
Iron
the
Man.
next like season.
Yeah,
or...
so
Okay.
You go.
I know, but remember your thought. Put it in your head.
It might be the same
Remember-
thought you had.
No, it's not, because I'm going back, because I have to finish a thought that I didn't finish earlier. Remember your thought.
Remembering my thought.
Now I forgot what I was gonna say, but I cut you off because you were talking about the colors in the movies. So somebody who like doesn't really like watch or who didn't really read the comics, I don't really feel like we're missing out with the color that much. But again, I'm not like a diehard fan who came from comics. I think that to make it like more realistic and to have it for a wider audience, because I feel like like you were saying, like the comics were geared towards kids, and so of course they're going to be more colorful and they're going to be more animated and have these more like fantastical storylines, but when they were making the movies, I'm sure that they wanted to go for a broader audience, so they thought, okay, we have to like mute the colors, maybe put in a few adult themes so like we can get some older people, because I don't think we're all in our 20s, and I don't think we are the target audience for Marvel.
I think we're definitely the target audience for Marvel.
Well, you think at the beginning? Because remember their focus group, like Taylor was saying at the beginning, was children.
But still, it just felt like it felt true to like teens and like a little bit older than teens.
Okay, I don't know. Taylor's looking up something.
Yeah, I'm looking up, so you guys finish this up. I'm
Also, adding on to the color thing, I feel like after they've captured their audience and they know that we're here to stick around, James Gunn and Taika Waititi really took over the color palette. Because Guardians of the Galaxy, both of them, and Thor Ragnarok were super colorful.
I mean, I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy, so I'm sure everybody out there has watched Marvel but me, it feels like. So I've seen up until, what is it, Thor: The Dark World? And then I've seen all of the Guardians of the Galaxies, and I've seen all of the Spider-Mans, plus the last 2 movies of Infinity War and Endgame. So I do, but I don't know all of like the character development that happens in the middle and between and all of the little story plots, because apparently Loki gets good. Because I saw that in
good is a stretch.
Yeah. He redeems himself?
Yeah.
He's
So-
not as bad.
Yeah. So I'm gonna cut you off and move back to the color thing. I don't know if we're still on that. I'd stop paying
We can,
attention.
we can keep talking about the color thing.
So I want you guys to look. I'm going to show you two photos. One is a photo of a shot from Captain America Civil War, and the other one is a photo of a shot from the upcoming movie Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. And I want you to look and see the difference. So this is...
Okay, but remember to send me these because
I
I need
will.
to put them on the Instagram.
Yeah. So this is the shot from Civil War.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
To kind of get the vibe. It's not super colorful.
It's not. It's all very like monotone, like mauve and
bland.
black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's a shot
It
from...
feels like you're at war.
Yeah.
Like
it feels like it's real. It feels like you're looking at something real. Here's a shot from Shang-Chi.
Oh, immediately with the neon.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's just bright purple.
That is the shift in color choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I feel like really embodies the idea of using color effectively in a comic movie, right? And this isn't the only shot. There's a whole slew of different colors in the trailer. So if you were to watch the trailer, you'd see a bunch of different colors being used, and it's vastly different than what we've gotten in the past. And people are extremely excited for that because of the chance that, see, think about it. I think what's holding a lot of the Marvel movies back from getting Oscars and getting awards like that is the fact that they're muted. They're not artistically expressive.
That's true. I mean, it's I don't want to say it's a money grab because but it is part of like Disney, and we've talked about that before. But it is like they do have this overarching like storyline. Like they've done their research. They've planned all of this out for years, and they're finally coming to fruition. And I know that they're going to be starting like their second season or their second part of like their.
It's like their phase 5.
Oh, phase 5 or whatever it's called.
Phase 4.
It's phase 4.
Oh, okay. But so I know that they're like prepared and everything, but I don't remember where I was going with this. My thing is, so what was the movie that you just said? What is that?
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
So that's based on a comic?
Another Marvel comic, yes.
Oh, another Marvel comic. So are you saying that? Oh, and you were saying because they need it. Yeah, it's not artistic. It's kind of like a money. It
looks very bland, and it doesn't feel very bland, but it looks bland. And I think that's the reason that they're unable to win those Oscars, is because they're not artistically expressive. If they took these and used artistic expression in them, I think they might have a better shot at getting some Oscars and some award-worthy films.
Okay, but do you think that they could do that? Two things. So do you think they could do that? They could add more color into their films and everything and still retain that like the reality to it? Because that was a big thing that we were talking about earlier, is that Marvel has transitioned into this like very like realistic, like they're trying to make their characters in the real world. So do you think that you could still add colors and everything into it and keep that integrity?
Yeah, there are other movies that are artistically expressive using color that still feel real.
Okay.
Even other action movies that I think could do that.
That wasn't me like attacking you. That was me asking.
No. This is me answering the question.
You
Yeah,
sounded like you were defending yourself.
yeah, no. Listen, I'm just producing here.
I'm just producing here. That and I forgot the other thing. Again, we changed topics way too much. I had another question.
Yeah. So one thing that I'm going to backtrack on that we mentioned a while ago is this idea of phases. So what Marvel is doing in their cinematic universe is moving through phases. So I don't think they initially planned this. They've divided up their movies into sort of phases. You could call them seasons, is the only comparable idea, where these movies are... It started with Iron Man, Captain America, the first Avenger, like the Incredible Hulk, all these introductory movies introducing the movie world to these characters. And then it moved on to like Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man and the Wasp, and introduced more obscure characters into the mainstream media. And then finally it brought them all together, with the Avengers and the Avengers, Captain America Civil War and all this stuff, until finally reaching its peak at Endgame. And that was phase 1 through 3. I don't believe that when they started, like I said, they intended to create a cinematic universe in the way that they did, because I believe it was just, it was a cash grab kind of thing. They needed more money, but they saw the opportunity and then they took it. But we're right now on phase 4, which is the movies that will be coming out, like that were produced just before quarantine started and during quarantine. And this is supposed to be where the cinematic universe is going to become the closest to the comics, because we believe that they're going to start including this idea of the multiverse, which is something that's big in comics right now, is this multiverse idea. Parallel universes where superheroes are the same but slightly different.
Well, it's if Loki spoiler warnings. Have you guys seen Loki?
No. Don't talk about
Do you
it.
guys care if I?
The show?
Yeah,
Did it just come out?
It
like
just came
Wednesday?
out yesterday.
Really?
Yesterday.
Okay, you know what? If it's in the first episode, I think I'll
I think
manage.
it's okay.
It's
Yeah.
not a big spoiler.
Yeah.
There's two.
Okay.
So the first one, Loki's with the Time Police. If you saw the trailer,
Mm-hmm.
and
Well,
they
if you just saw the end of Infinity, was it Endgame where he picks up the
The Tesseract.
The Tesseract.
So you already know something strange. Anyway,
okay, so he's with the Time Police, and they're like, so we take care of the multiverse. So they confirm
That
the
the multiverse
multiverse.
theory. Oh, that's sick.
Cool.
And the second thing is that for Phase 4, they've already made the past 3 phases look like nothing with that first episode of Loki. Because in one of them, Loki opens a drawer, and inside there's Infinity Stones. And he's like, are these Infinity Stones? And they're like, yeah, but we use them as paperweights.
Which is funny because
That was the weirdest transition. You laughing and just and
well, because in the comics, the Infinity Stones are not the end all be all by any means. They're just a weapon that Thanos uses.
that's crazy because they spent 3 whole phases about.
Yeah, they spent like 12 years building up to that. But that's honestly, it's basically nothing compared to the powers that you see in other characters in the universe. Thanos got arrested by the police once. Yeah,
Like by the cops?
by the cops.
the cops in like America.
Yeah,
Of course, it was America.
yeah. It was
Which
like,
was the Brooklyn cops.
yeah, it was pretty, yeah. They just straight up arrested him. He had the Infinity Gauntlet.
What?
Yeah, they just arrested him. I mean, it was in the Silver Age of comics when things were weird.
Yeah,
but
it's
like,
weird.
but they did it. It's canon.
Was this like Thanoscopter area?
Yeah, this is like Thanoscopter era.
What is that?
Thanos had a helicopter called the Thanoscopter.
And it was like purple and weird looking.
Yeah,
Did it look like him?
I don't think so. I think it was just
Oh,
colored.
that'd be cool if it had his face
that'd
plastered
be
on the side of
hilarious.
it.
Still, for a man that has the Infinity Gauntlet, for
Yeah.
him to be riding around in a helicopter.
I really wish they had brought that into the movies.
That would be
That'd been
fucking
awesome.
hilarious. The other thing, before we continue, talking about phases. Are we still on phases?
I was about to move off that, but
Oh, okay, but are you okay? You just fucking jumped.
he was bouncing his legs
Oh, you're bouncing your legs. Okay, we're sharing a couch.
and a microphone.
And a microphone. I don't like sharing a microphone. I feel like I'm taking it away from you too much. You need to speak more.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. But you were saying you don't think that they meant to do like all like those 4 phases or anything like that. I think that they did. Maybe not to the same extent. Maybe I do think that I do think that they had like an overarching like story that they were going to tell over multiple movies, but I don't think it was going to be to this extent of like however many they've made at this point, like 20 or I don't.
Yeah, I think they planned on having the Avengers. And
Yeah.
basically that was as far as they went in the beginning.
And then, so my thing is I think Disney, when they bought it, they're like, we gotta squeeze the money out of this. So Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, let's make another Thor movie, let's make another Captain America movie. So,
Yeah, well, I definitely think that Disney had something to play in with it because Disney has the money to produce those movies.
Yeah.
You know?
The immense monopoly that is Disney now.
that's very true.
Yeah, Disney owns most of what you watch, whether you realize it or not.
Everything. Disney owns everything.
I feel like it's going to get to a point where Disney's not going to have to say that it's Disney anymore. You're just going to know. In the back of your mind, all the film companies are going to like say, okay, this is filmed by Fox, but like
Disney.
you're going to know in the back of your head that Disney
Well,
was there.
Fox, isn't it owned by Disney?
Yeah, Fox is already owned by Disney.
I'm using that because they just bought them out.
Yeah, well, just as
And Disney owns,
Nat Geo,
don't know what that is.
National Geographic.
Oh, yeah, they do own that. They own ABC.
And they own Fox and FX, which is
Yep.
2 separate, technically.
It's just a matter of time before they monopolize the film
I
industry.
think my favorite tidbit of
They've already
knowledge
basically monopolized
they
the film
pretty much
industry.
have is that they own like horror movies now because they own Fox.
Yep.
So they
Interesting.
Disney owns a bunch of horror movies which are not on Disney Plus, which I think is not nice.
No, okay. Have you heard that
Hmm.
there's when you buy a Disney Plus account, it's already like child locked, and so if you go into your settings and take
No,
off.
I tried that.
Oh, you already did.
Yeah,
Damn.
I didn't. It doesn't exist, at least not in the American version. I'm sure there might be some
Fuck.
other ones, but in the American version, there's no child lock on it that you can take off. Also, if it was child locked, you shouldn't be able to watch The Simpsons.
I've never watched The Simpsons, so
You
I
never
can't.
watched The Simpsons?
Simpsons.
You've never seen The
seen
Office?
The Office? The Simpsons is not a child show.
Symptoms?
The Simpsons.
The Sampletons?
Tim Dampletons?
The Simpletons.
Tim Tams? Have you ever had a Tim Tam?
You ever heard Tim?
I have not heard of Timton.
Have you ever had a Tim Tam?
You ever heard Tintin?
No.
The
Can you
Adventures of
answer my
Tintin?
question?
Did you hear that Paddington 2 was like the #1 movie?
Paddington like surpassed what was the big movie?
Citizen Kane.
Passed Citizen Kane.
No.
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Paddington 2, a sequel. I can't fucking believe that a sequel
To an animated
to an
bear.
animated bear passed Citizen Kane.
When?
Like about a month or two ago.
Well, I think people are in need of a goofy bear.
A good time.
Yeah.
Well, Paddington 2 is no longer #1. I forgot what's #1, but something else surpassed that.
I gotta figure it out.
Maybe it was the new Demon Slayer movie. That wouldn't surprise me. Because you know what happened? Demon Slayer surpassed the last movie that was the last animated Japanese movie that was the top of the charts was either Howl's Moving Castle. It was a Miyazaki movie. Either Howl's Moving Castle or what's the other Miyazaki movie? Spirited Away or something like that.
Howl's Moving Castle is like the only Studio Ghibli film that I've ever seen, and I saw a TikTok about it the other day, and somebody was saying that the reason that his castle moves is because he's avoiding taxes. And I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, I watched it for the first time recently. It's really good.
Was
It
I
has a
looking
lot
at?
of big names in
What's
it.
the #1 movie on Rotten Tomatoes?
Oh, not tomatoes here.
Also,
Oh, this is just a Rotten Tomatoes thing?
yeah.
No wonder Paddington.
No,
2
but
is
can
there.
we like take a minute to think before that it was Citizen Kane?
That's true. Before
Like-
that, it was Citizen Kane.
Yeah, but like so Rotten Tomatoes is run by like audiences, is run my phone's and it's dead. That Rotten Tomatoes is run by or like they it's based off of like audiences reviews and things like that. And so even the audiences thought that Citizen Kane was the best movie apparently until Paddington 2 came out, which is insane.
Wow. A couple of them. And Paddington 2 isn't even on there.
Not anymore. What the hell?
No.
I feel like for the longest time Citizen Kane was up there.
Yeah, so the #1 movie is It Happened One Night, 1934. #2 is Modern Times, 1936. #3, Black Panther, 2018. #4, Citizen Kane. #5, Wizard of Oz. #6, Parasite. #7, Endgame. 8, Casablanca. 9, Knives Out.
Knives Out, okay, hot take. People aren't gonna agree with me. Knives Out sucked.
Yeah, I did
I-
not care for it.
I enjoyed it, to be honest.
I was
It's
talking
so
to
easy to tell who the killer is.
Right? Okay, that's my thing, because I knew who the killer was, and so that's why you're like, oh, it was like, no, you didn't know who it was.
But honestly, at this point, you rarely watch a movie where you're like, oh my gosh, like I totally didn't see that coming.
But did you know who the killer was?
Oh, yeah.
I don't fucking believe you.
Yeah, the point of a good mystery is to make it so you don't know
You
until the
don't
end.
know. And so, no. So I'm sorry.
She just
She
slapped
hit me.
him.
I didn't.
She slapped him to keep
Really?
him from grabbing the microphone.
She slapped me in the face.
Didn't I do that to you the other day when we were, I don't know.
This is not the first
No,
offense.
I
Someone send help, please.
didn't. No.
Domestic abuse is
SOS.
not a
SOS.
domestic abuse is not a joke, but domestic abuse is not a joke.
No, domestic abuse is not a joke. I was talking to our professor about it. I was talking to Jesse, and he thought it was a phenomenal movie. And that's okay. You can have your opinion, but your opinion is wrong. Knives Out was trash.
Your opinion's wrong.
No, my opinion's always right. Randy's always right.
I beg to differ.
What? No.
How
No.
often? I have a recording of you telling me that I'm right.
I know.
That's hilarious. You keep that? Do you just like send it back to her when you're right? And you're just
No.
No, I don't have to because I'm right all the time.
like, boom.
I don't like it because there was this point in my life when I was right all the time. Like literally, I don't mean to brag, but I was right all of the time. And then I met this guy and I'm never right anymore. So.
You know what they say.
I
I don't know.
I know what they say.
What?
Life is like a box of chocolates.
You never know.
Yes, circles.
You never get what you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great job.
Randy's random thought of the day. Wow.
As she.
Interesting. Dun dun dun. No, you have to come up with a random thought of the day off the top of your head.
I can't. Okay, I'm gonna.
Alex random thought of the day.
No.
Tomatoes are pretty good.
That's not a random thought, okay? But that's just a statement.
No.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't like tomatoes.
I don't like tomatoes.
I also don't like tomatoes.
But I do like tomatoes. I can eat them freshly chopped with salt.
See, that's the only way that I'll eat tomatoes. I will not eat ketchup. I will not eat pasta sauce. I
Ketchup
will
is
just...
weird. It's like weirdly
It's
sweet.
sweet.
It shouldn't be sweet.
It shouldn't.
No,
No.
it doesn't fit.
You guys are the odd ones here.
should
I
not-
feel like
no.
considering the definition of weird being the person that is the
Oh, you're the odd one out.
yeah, odd one
I
out.
bet you if we grabbed a focus group of people and asked them if they like ketchup or partake in ketchup, the majority of them would.
Okay, well, y'all are weird. Okay, Randy's random thought of the day. I'm gonna take what we were, because you already know this, but I'm gonna, because I wanted to say it on the podcast, is the fact, like, tanning is a thing. We talked about this at my pool party. I don't like the idea. I don't want to get political, and I don't want to get, but tanning is a weird thing, considering, like, as a society, like, we've not been the kindest and have discriminated against people of color, and yet white people want to look darker, and I don't get it.
I don't either. I don't get it. I mean,
What?
Taylor low-key was thinking about getting a 10.
Never once in my life have I been like, yeah, I want my skin darker.
I think the only time in my life I wanted that, I have a birthmark on my forehead. When I was a kid, it was the same size as it is now, but my head was smaller.
Oh, so it looked bigger.
So it looked a lot bigger. So
So you were like, if I burn my forehead dark enough, no one will be able to see it.
yeah, that was the thing, is that I was a super pasty white kid, like white as a sheet. And so that birthmark stood out, and I used to get teased for it. And so I was like,
Oh, that sucks.
yeah, well, I was teased for everything because children are cruel.
I know, but why are children cruel? It
I
doesn't
don't
make
know.
any sense.
Anyway,
Children are
so I
terrible.
was like, what if I got a tan? And the tanner I got, the less you could see it. And I was like, well, that's the answer, isn't it? But it was just the fact that I was growing up and it was fading because my freckles have faded as I've grown up. But yeah, Randy's random thought of the day. Wow, that was interesting. So let's move on to some recommendations because
We're already done?
yeah, it's been an
Wow.
hour. It's been an hour. This
Damn.
is the most
This was
laid back,
really laid back, yeah.
But
Because we
I-
didn't have a structure to it. We didn't really know what we were
No,
going to talk about.
this is I kind of like the format though. Maybe
I
this
do.
is a thing we do. From
Maybe
time
we
to
keep
time.
doing this for guests.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Okay, we'll see how people react.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll Anyway,
Yeah.
recommendations. So let's just recommend some
Marvel stuff.
Marvel stuff. So I'm gonna recommend Marvel's Insomniac's Marvel's Spider-Man, which is the newest video game. Not the newest. They have a sequel, which is glorified DLC on the PS5, but I'm not gonna get into that. I like both of them are really, really great games. They play really well. They have a lot of thought and a lot of love poured into them. And they're clean to play. They have great stories, and I just love Spider-Man. So everything about those games I think is really good. They, as time goes on, I'm sure they won't hold up to whatever next Spider-Man game comes out.
Of course, yeah.
But that always happens. So it revolutionized the web swinging again after.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Once you said web, yeah.
Yes, so they revolutionized the web slinging from what it was. The last revolutionization was from Spider-Man 2, based off of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2, and which changed the web swinging a bit and used the pendulum effect rather than just have him move forward. Actually used a pendulum, so physics and stuff, fun.
The web slinging, the web swinging,
The
the
hash
lash-
slinging, the thrash dinging, the flash bringing,
Flash.
the hash
slinging slasher. Anyone that doesn't understand that joke can go home.
Yeah, just leave.
You are severely impoverished if you don't get that joke.
A great one. That's a good joke. I'm
Nice.
gonna put that one in the pocket and use it again.
Use it again.
Yeah, that's what I would recommend. That's my recommendation.
I'm gonna, because I'm a cinema person, I'm gonna recommend WandaVision, which is it's a television. I guess it's a serialized show that is up on Disney Plus. It follows the shenanigans of is her name just Wanda? No, Red.
Wanda
No,
Maximoff.
she's but what's her Scarlet Witch? I knew it. I was gonna say Scarlet Red. And I was like, that's the same thing. Scarlet.
Scarlet and Red, same thing.
No, but it's about Scarlet Witch, Wanda, and her husband, her love interest, Vision.
Husband.
Are they married? Really? Okay, because I only watched the show.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, having only watched the show, did that take away from the experience, not understanding the backstories?
No, completely understood the story and everything. No, you can totally watch WandaVision on its own.
Interesting.
I mean, all you have to know is that they both like have powers and that she's the Scarlet Witch, and that makes
So
sense.
they explained all the things you wanted to know in the show. Like, you don't feel like you came out of it confused at all?
I think the only like question was like where Vision came from. Because like they go a bit into like his backstory, because when Wanda and Vision first meet, he's very much more like less emotional, I guess. He's more robotic. But you obviously explained that to me, because he used to be the Tony Stark's like system.
Yeah, he used to be Jarvis, which was the system Tony Stark used, the AIs Tony Stark used for a very long time, until Ultron, which is an enemy that was another AI that Tony Stark built, came along and then turned evil, and then decided to create a body for himself using the Mind Stone. And when that happened, they didn't want to let Ultron put his mind inside of this powerful body, so they put Jarvis inside of it instead.
Oh, okay. But that was the only thing.
Also, I feel like the big thing that you didn't get is why, if like, no, not you, anyone that hasn't watched like Endgame or anything or Infinity War, like why she's sulking over Vision so much, and it's because he died. He died in Infinity War, and that's one thing you gotta know.
Well, you don't know that she's sulking over him when you first start the show. You believe that both of them are still alive.
Yeah, and but as a viewer of the entire series, you come in with the knowledge that he's dead, and you're confused as to why he's alive.
Yeah.
So it's just different perspectives.
Perspectives.
But either way, yeah.
Because I hadn't seen it, and so I thought that it still told a great story, and I understood a lot of it except just where Vision came from.
Yeah.
So I would recommend that, and it takes on like their lives, and not their lives, but Wanda wanting to have Vision back and what a life with him would look like.
I'd recommend Loki. It just came out yesterday, as previously stated. I know a lot of people watched WandaVision just because like they like the whole 60s, 50s TV show feel. Like my mom, she watched WandaVision, but that's the only Marvel thing she's ever watched. And even if you're not a avid Marvel fan, watch Loki. It's a really good watch. Even with just the first episode, it's really good.
Yeah. I'm excited because I get to go home, and tomorrow, after editing both the new logo and we're recording 2 episodes per day now, so we can save time and not have to meet up as often. So we're recording this the same time that we recorded the minimalism episode.
That we recorded last week's episode.
Yeah. So I have to go home tonight and furiously edit all of tomorrow's episode, as well as put together the new logo and banner and stuff. That's all for this intellectual journey, which I didn't say for the last episode, and I'm mad. But that's all for this intellectual journey. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you guys in the next one.
Bye.
Some of us will.
Oh, what? Well, finish your thought.
At least some of us will.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Media for the Intellectually Impoverished is produced by Trey Taylor Smith and Miranda Randi Zapes.
Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at MFTII Podcast, or email us at mftiipodcast@gmail.com.
That's MFT 2 Eyes Podcast. Thanks for listening.